Good day, everyone. It's my pleasure to present my ideas on leadership change and its impact on U.S.-Taiwan-China relations, including South China Sea or East China Sea issues. In this year, in Taiwan, in China, and the United States, we have a leadership change. Xi Jinping, he's the latest leader in China, and Obama just won his re-election bid, and President Ma won his re-election bid early this year.
To the right.
Down? Okay, here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one.
Okay. Okay. So, but I think the leadership change will have impact on Asia and on themselves. Obama's re-election suggests that his pivoting Asia or rebalancing Asia strategy will remain intact, and even turn out to be an even stronger one than it used to be, because he's re-elected. And we will not discuss the leadership change at the national security level, because there are so many rumors. And one may wonder, how could the U.S. support its pivoting Asia strategy while its economy is in relative decline and its defense budget is strengthening? Actually, the United States this time is much smarter than ever before. It will use its own resources, but it will make better use or best use of its allies and partners' resources. So, unlike the Vietnam War era, at that time the United States dispatched more than 500,000 soldiers there, but now it only dispatches 2,500 Marine to North Australia. So this time, in terms of causality, I don't think the United States will wage war at the cost of its human lives. So, and I think this time the United States, while promoting its pivoting Asia strategy, will not depend upon its own resources alone. Instead, it will depend upon the cooperation and the collaboration between U.S. and its allies and partners. Of course, all the people knows that U.S. Well, I will not use the word containment, but I think U.S. rebalancing Asia. The main purpose of U.S. rebalancing Asia is to check and balance China's quick rise. And China's leadership change and its impact on Asia, I would say Xi Jinping might be a more powerful leader than Hu Jintao. First, he assumes the chairmanship of Chinese Military Commission immediately after he assumed the position of Secretary General. Okay, so he appointed Air Force Commander immediately after his assumption of his new offices. And I think Xi Jinping is also more powerful in cracking down the corruption scandals. It does not mean that corruption scandals will disappear from China. Instead, it will still prevail in China. It is said that there are so many big Boxilai and small Boxilai everywhere in China. And even Wen Jiabao was reported to have family assets abroad, according to New York Times report. It is not from Taiwan newspapers report. And the third is that Xi Jinping will be more powerful than his predecessor because Xi Jinping has more support from his father's generations, generals or political leaders' endorsement. And I always ask a Chinese scholar, why does your country have so many corruptive scandals? One official tell me the truth, maybe partial truth. He said, we do have institutions in charge of such affairs. We do have laws to enforce our punishment measures. We do have mechanisms, but all this cannot be applied to leaders from the central to the local level. That's the problem. I think it's partially true. And it's because these laws can only be applied to those intermediate level officials, but not local leaders. And that's why there are so many Boxilais in China. Okay, not to mention their wives and their close aides. I think China is more than willing to see the re-election of Ma Ying-jeou because they believe, Chinese leaders believe that Tsai Ing-wen will be more productive if she was elected. And I do think that few people can understand what Tsai Ing-wen was saying during the campaign period, because even the National Security Advisor Tom Donilon could not understand what Tsai Ing-wen means when she talked about Taiwan consensus and something like that. So he disclosed the internal inner news to the Financial Times by saying that he is afraid that Tsai Ing-wen could not manage the close trade affairs. And China also believes that Ma Ying-jeou will do something in his second term. However, China soon found that Beijing is too early to be optimistic, because as Marx once said, Taiwan in the next decade will continue to face the challenges from China by asking us to go to negotiation table to talk about agreements such as peace accord or military mutual trust, like the equivalent to CBM in the next decade. However, Taiwan has not yet prepared. In later this July, I went to Harbin to visit CBC and the KMT forum, and Jia Qinling once said, Taiwan and China should make efforts to establish a new country, something like that. This is two sides, one country, 两岸一国, or 两岸同属一个中国. Two sides of Taiwan Strait belong to same China. But in the morning session I could not say anything because the session was only prepared for leadership exchange of views. But in the afternoon session I raised my opposition by saying that if we create an image or impression that two sides of Taiwan Strait are going to establish a new country in the future, I think it will not help Taiwan. Taiwan's leaders to consolidate his country too much. So I opposed such an idea, and even China say they have had goodwill by mentioning this, but they didn't negotiate or counsel with Taiwan. Okay. And on the issue of East China Sea or South China Sea, I think Chinese leader will take more assertive actions on these two regions. Even Hu Jintao has shown us that China is taking many concrete actions in safeguarding South China Sea and East China Sea. So I think Xi Jinping will do more. I think these are the challenges Taiwan, Japan, and the United States have to face. I think Professor Song has mentioned U.S.-China or Japan-China disputes over the East China Sea very well. So I will skip that. In the last, I will say that Ma Ying-jeou has proposed his East China Sea Peace Initiative. Many may wonder why Ma Ying-jeou proposed such an initiative. Because Taiwan is a small nation, we cannot influence Japanese, Chinese, and the United States behaviors. But according to Joseph Nye, he talked about cooperative power. Cooperative power means that we, Taiwan, proposed an initiative which is equivalent to scenario in which other nations will follow our political preferences once we propose that, because doing so will also be in their national interest. This is Joseph. Immediately after Ma Ying-jeou proposed his idea on East China Sea Peace Initiative, an AIT, an American institute in Taiwan, an AIT official called me, asked me why President Ma proposed such an initiative. I just told him by quoting Joseph Nye's idea, cooperative power. And in my own opinion, I will say our stance will be expressed with the English word firm and each letter of this word. Firm itself suggests that our position in 钓鱼台 or DIG, as Professor Song suggested, DIG, our position on DIG is very firm, and we will never give in an inch. And F suggests flexibility here, and because we don't have any islets in the DIG, so we will say that we have to take a flexible approach toward this controversial issue, and we will adjust our behaviors, our actions when timing is correct. Okay. And I suggest international environment. When international environment allows, we will take moves. For example, in the past, we never have water cannon warfare with Japan. But this time, we have had such a warfare with Japan. Of course, we noticed Japan in advance. We also noticed the United States in advance. So the water cannon warfare will only be limited to a certain level. It will not escalate to a real war. And R signals our resolve to keep our sovereignty claims over the disputed DIG. And M shows that we need military forces as our